you're a believer of the mechanistic universe. You're a naturalist, and as you've described, a poetic naturalist.
That's right.
What's the word poetic? What is naturalism, and what is poetic naturalism?
Naturalism is just the idea that all that exists is the natural world. There's no supernatural world. You can have arguments about what that means, but I would claim that the argument should be about what the word supernatural means, not the word natural. The natural world is the world that we learn about by doing science. The poetic part means that you shouldn't be too, I want to say, fundamentalist about what the natural world is. As we went from Newtonian space-time to Einsteinian space-time, something is maintained there. There is a different story that we can tell about the world. And that story in the Newtonian regime, if you want to fly a rocket to the moon, you don't use general relativity. You use Newtonian mechanics. That story works perfectly well. The poetic aspect of the story is that there are many ways of talking about the natural world. And as long as those ways latch on to something real and causally efficacious about the functioning of the world, then we attribute some reality and truth to them.
So the poetic really looks at the let's say the pothead questions at the edge of science. Is more open to them.
It's doing double duty a little bit, so that's why it's confusing. The more obvious, respectable duty it's doing is that tables are real. Even though you know that it's really a quantum field theory wave function, right? Tables are still real. They're a different way of talking about the underlying deeper reality of it. The other duty it's doing is that we move beyond purely descriptive vocabularies for discussing the universe onto normative and prescriptive and judgmental ways of talking about the universe. This painting is beautiful, that one is ugly. This action is morally right, that one is morally wrong. These are also ways of talking about the universe. They are not fixed by the phenomena. They are not determined by our observations. They cannot be ruled out by a crucial experiment. But they're still valid. They might not be universal. They might be subjective, but they're not arbitrary. And they do have a role in describing how the world works.
So you don't think it's possible to construct experiments that explore the realms of morality and even meaning? So those are subjective.
Yeah. They're human. They're personal.
But do you think that's just because we don't have the tools of science have not expanded enough to incorporate the human experience?
No, I don't think that's what it is. I think that what we mean by aesthetics or morality are we're attaching categories, properties to things that happen in the physical world. And there is always going to be some subjectivity to our attachment and how we do that. And that's okay. And the faster we recognize that and deal with it, the better off we'll be.
But if we deeply and fully understand the functioning of the human mind, won't be able to incorporate that?
No. That will absolutely be helpful in explaining why certain people have certain moral beliefs. It won't justify those beliefs as right or wrong.
Do you think it's possible to have a kind of general relativity, but that includes the observer effect where the human mind is the observer?
Sure.
So sort of like how we morph in the same way gravity morphs space-time, how does the human mind morph reality and have a very thorough theory of how that morphing actually happens?
That's a very pothead question, Lex, but that's okay.
But don't you think it's possible?
But the answer is yes. I think that there's I think that we're part of the physical world and the natural world. Physicalism would have been just as good a word to use as naturalism, maybe even a more accurate word, but it's a little bit more off-putting. So I did want a snappier, more attractive label than physicalism.